Hello, glorious soul. Welcome to the Soul Service Astrology update for the week commencing the 31st of October. Hello, I'm Kelx, and I'm a 13-sign sidereal astrologist. So that is the astrology I'll be talking about. 13-sign sidereal astrology matches astronomy. It matches what you can see in the sky. I think it's really important that we start looking at our environment, and that includes our sky. And historically, our ancestors have always looked to the sky and divined and derived meaning from it and connected them to their seasons and how they were feeling, and they modified their behavior. I feel that we are disconnected from the environment, and soul service astrology is one tool that you can implement on a daily basis to bring you back into that beautiful cyclical, ecological connection with the environment and yourself, so that you get to open into this beautiful wonderland that is this planet. And you can also maybe help save it a bit too. So I'm going to structure these a little bit differently. I'm going to give a synopsis now of the week ahead. If you're short on time and you don't want to listen to the whole 20 minutes that I usually talk for, coming into the week of the 31st, we're going to have 3 planets change sign, and they're all going to change sign into the same sign. So Venus, the Sun, and Mercury all move into Libra. Venus is our regenerative and connective ability, and it presents us an opportunity. Now, Venus has been in Virgo for a long time, so we have been focusing on our health, perhaps our wellness, perhaps we've been looking at our purpose and our service, perhaps there's been some regeneration there. Venus is conjunct the Sun at the moment, which means she's in the underworld. So perhaps there's changes happening there. Perhaps there's shadows that you're needing to look at. And when I say shadows, I mean subconscious patterns that might be coming up that you know you need to deal with, but you kind of keep sort of pushing aside. Now that Venus is moving into Libra, she can start to really harmonize into her values. She can start to really harmonize into connection with others. Now, because Venus is still conjunct the Sun and we can't see her, and when I say her, of course, there is the feminine aspect in all of us, it's time to connect with others, connect with yourself, and perhaps there's relationships that are on the way out. The Sun moves into Libra. Our Sun is our creative energy. It's our external personality. It's how we meet life. It's how we want to shine. It's how we really want people to see us. It's a little bit about our identity. And that's moving into Libra. So, of course, we start to express in a much more compassionate way, maybe a much more balanced way. Perhaps there's an opportunity there for you to become a little bit more diplomatic. And then we have Mercury. Mercury is our storyteller and our mind. Moving into Libra, it wants to express in a much more balanced way. Find harmony, perhaps listen to others more than speaking about yourself. And that could really be a practice that we could all really step into, because I reckon there's a bunch of people that would really love to just be heard instead of talked to a lot. So that's a synopsis of this week. Thank you very much for watching that. If that's all you want to watch, don't forget to subscribe, because I will give these little synopsises now if that's all you want to watch. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into the details, and I'm going to show the chart, and you can check out where everything is. So hang around for the details. Here we go. It always does it to me when I put the wrong thing in the wrong place and I can't click a button quickly. All right, here we go. This is Monday the 31st. We have a crescent moon in Sagittarius on Monday. Crescent moon is a very curious moon. Wants to explore our emotions, and perhaps you're feeling some quite expansive emotions because it's very close to Pluto at the moment on the 31st. And You might like to dive deep into your shadow. Good time to do it with Venus conjunct the Sun. Let those emotions bubble up. Let them inform you as to the action that you might take with them. Don't shove them down. Emotions need to be expressed and come up. And then we have the crescent moon again, curious, student-like, seeking, but now it's expressing in Capricorn. So is there an opportunity here for you to embrace your emotional intelligence as part of your wisdom? Is your emotional intelligence telling you something at the moment? Listen to it. So that's what I'm getting at in relation to the moon. And then on Tuesday the 2nd, Venus moves into Libra. I'm just going to hit this forward an hour because I'm at +11 at the moment. And that's at +10. So I'm going to move it to 1300. There we go. Venus has moved into Libra. I think something's wrong with my system this week. So Venus moves into Libra on the 2nd and the 3rd. It probably moves into Libra late on the 2nd for me. The 3rd for the rest of the world, or perhaps earlier on the 2nd. Anyway, doesn't matter. We don't need to be exact. Venus, regenerative connector. So Venus has a couple of states that presents us an opportunity to look at those states within us. Venus was in Anna, and the story of Inanna was her sister got taken to the underworld, and she was going to go into the underworld and rescue her. This is a very abbreviated story, and I have a lot more research to do, so please note my bias here. When she descended into the underworld, there were 7 layers of clothing and jewelry and identity she needed to take off. So you can hear the energetic quality there of stripping layers of our ego when we go into the underworld, to be basically dead, nothing left, completely just as she is in the underworld. And there's negotiations to happen in the underworld because people don't come out of the underworld. Well, back in the day, they certainly didn't. So that's where we're at the moment. Venus can't be seen because it's conjunct, it's too close to the sun. So the sun's too bright, you can't see Venus. And historically, that's how the myth evolved. They were tracking Venus. There was a period of time where you can't see Venus, and then she'll rise as an evening star in December for us. So there's qualities there for us to step into with Venus, the regenerative connector in the underworld. So let's unpack that a little bit. Are there qualities that you need to regenerate in relation to harmony and balance within yourself, your self-connection, your bodily connection? After coming out of Virgo, maybe you did some inquiry, you put a Virgo lens on your health and your wellness and your values. And now coming into Libra, it's more like, okay, so how do I connect them now? So if we're thinking about our soil, which Venus kind of rules, how do we now, we've got these component parts, how do we now connect them? So that's that connective ability. Now, in the underworld, Inanna was negotiating with Hades, or the god of the underworld. There was a number of names as to how she was going to come out again. So we're negotiating with ourselves. But of course, we're negotiating with ourselves to benefit ourselves and to benefit others, not just to stay the same, essentially, is what I'm saying. So that's the opportunity that Venus presents in Libra. Now, Venus is going to move, start moving out of conjunction with the sun, but we won't see Venus rise as an evening star until December. And when she starts rising as an evening star, you think, but that's the ascent. She's coming out of the underworld. Now, that takes a long time. So it's kind of like a reconstitution when she comes out of the underworld. So use this as a sacred time to look at your shadow. And when I say shadow, it's to look at your subconscious programming. And if there's anything in there that's making you feel yuck or emotional or holding you back, then that's what you need to look at. That's what you need to work with and through. And if you need support for that, then reach out, because I do know a lot of people, or I may be able to help you. Right. So that's Venus moving into Libra. And then also on the 3rd, well, I've moved to the 4th, but on the 3rd, we also have the opposition of the North Node with Venus coming in. Now, the North Node represents our mission of this lifetime. It might seem a little bit challenging because it's the opposite of our South Node, which is perhaps actions that have had consequences that we've done a lot or that we don't really know how to do. And isn't it funny what I just spoke about with Venus? It's opposite this regenerative connective ability. But the mission here in Aries really wants to charge in and make changes. It's like, I'm done with this. I want to charge in and make changes. What Venus is asking you to do is to look at your unconscious bias. Don't charge in to make changes unless they've been fully considered. Perhaps you need to advocate. Perhaps you need to use some diplomacy, because I'm sure Inanna in the underworld was having to be very diplomatic with Hades to let her out and negotiate. So I feel like this is a bit of a negotiation with tending to ourselves, regenerating ourselves, and then what our mission is calling for us to do. Now, this is perfect for eclipse season, right? Because eclipse season is a great time to make changes. Now, you'll either feel them, know them, seal them, or you'll be having your ass kicked if you're not listening. Typically, if you're not listening, or if you get a bit ego orientated, like I did last eclipse season, and go, oh, I'm so spiritual, this eclipse won't affect me. And yeah, it did. So you can make the changes that you desire to make at the moment. Perhaps you could embrace that as an opportunity. There's changes that I desire to make. Could I possibly start to bring them to life? And could I do it in a really harmonious, diplomatic way? So that's the 3rd. And then if we move to the 4th of November, the Sun is going to move in 4th, 5th. The Sun moves into Libra on the 4th or the 5th. So as I mentioned at the beginning, if you listened, the Sun is our creative ability. It's our creative desire. It's our desire to shine from our heart so that everyone can see it and really see us for who we are. But of course, we've had layers of stuff and conditioning put on top of that. So the opportunity, because as always, when a planet changes signs, it presents a new opportunity to us to take an action, to connect with our emotions, to connect with the environment, to examine something in our life, to examine a relationship. Maybe this is examining relationship, being in Libra and that connective ability. Perhaps you aren't being heard. Perhaps you do want to express yourself in a relationship, and perhaps you're playing with new ways to communicate. So in a relationship, when we communicate, it's sometimes better to describe how we're feeling rather than blaming someone else for how we're feeling. That's something I learned a very long time ago. It was hard. So, and I still certainly slip back into the victim mode where I'll blame the other person for how I'm feeling. But perhaps this is an opportunity to express how you really feel in a relationship. Good, bad, ugly, beautiful, right? None of them, we're not judging any of them, but to express it from your viewpoint in an attempt to go deeper into connection with that person. Obviously, if it's a relationship, there's lots of red flags. maybe they're not the right person because they're not receiving your fullest expression, which is your fullest shining. What other opportunities does the Sun in Libra present us? It presents us the opportunity to harmonize with the solar energies, to harmonize more deeply in our body, love our bodies some more, because this is really Vesuvian energy. Venus is there. Maybe we need to do some somatic activity to allow ourselves to move with the shadow that's stuck in our body, to move with some programming, to lift it out, to open the body up, to show it some real beautiful self-love, so that then it becomes easier to shine outwards. And if people don't want to accept you for who you are, it's like, well, not meant to be in my world. See you later. So that's the 4th, 5th. And then on the 6th, 7th, we have a little bit of a repeat of this energy that I explained at the beginning, but this time it's Uranus opposite the Venus energy down here. So Uranus is rebellion, right? It's really radical rebellion, changes. And in Aries, if you've been playing along with me for some time now, it's that warrior-like changes. It's like, I am sick to death of this, and really focused on the changes that they want to make. And they really don't care who they stomp on, and they want to go and do that. So this big energy around change. And again, it matches that eclipse energy. But it's opposite Venus and the Sun. So again, we're bringing some diplomacy. We're bringing some harmony to the rebel. Now, vice versa, we're also bringing some rebel flame to the harmonizer, because sometimes maybe you want to sit on the fence. Is there an issue where you're sitting on the fence and that perhaps you need to pick a side? Uranus in Aries can help you pick a side. And perhaps it's an internal side that I'm not putting up with my own bullshit anymore. Or perhaps it is a relationship where you're like, I'm done. I've tried to harmonize this from my perspective. I know I've done the work, but it's not happening here. And you can end it. Now, when I talk about relationships, I don't necessarily just talk about romantic relationships. It could be any kind of relationship, in particular with Venus in Libra. Okay, so we move to the 6th and 7th now, and Mercury joins Venus and the Sun in Libra. So our mind has had a really big stretch in Virgo. Now, our mind loves being in Virgo because Virgo loves information, but it loves to process information in Virgo. It loves to really deeply think about things and be making the right, saying the right things and providing the correct answers. So maybe there's a little bit of that perfectionism. Now, when Mercury moves into Libra, it presents the opportunity for the mind to have a little breather and to see the beauty in connection, to see the beauty in art, to see the beauty in broader things rather than just information that we're absorbing and they're processing. So it's to see beauty in the other. It's to see and perhaps hear other people's stories. So as I said at the beginning, perhaps there's an opportunity here for us to practice compassionate listening, to listen to others, because I reckon all of us are just walking around the planet wanting to be heard, right? And I think this really presents us an opportunity, something that may be about you want to change. I really want to listen better. I want to listen to understand, not just listen to respond. Excuse me. And that's certainly something I've been practicing. So perhaps you can step into that as well. Perhaps you can listen to someone else's story. And then you'll hear someone invite you to share your story. And then a beautiful, flowing, connective conversation can evolve from that in a really harmonious way. You can hear about all the juiciness of the Libran energy that I'm talking about now. It's been a big, long stint in Virgo. It always is every year, but it's for our service. It's for our purpose. It's for our wellness. It's to fill our energetic cup. And it's to reconnect us with why we're here. We're here to serve. We're here to serve for the greater whole. And now that we step into Libra with the energies of the Sun, Venus, and Mercury, charged up with a little bit of mission and vision energy there, it's time to go out and connect. But make sure that you're connected to your body and yourself, and you're doing the work, the shadow work, the clearing of the subconscious programming, clearing out any unconscious biases. It's a continual practice. And then make really harmonious, beautiful connections with others within your world, and the ones that you really want to make, the deep connections that you want to make that lead to the changes that you'd love to see and be in this world. So that is the week of the 31st of October. You can see that I don't edit this, and I do it as my program runs. And for some reason, my program was running an hour later than it should have been. I certainly hope you've enjoyed that this week. If you would like to work with me, Eco Alchemy is my membership community. We have a monthly full moon yoga practice, and that incorporates asana and pranayama and meditation. And then we have a monthly circle, and that is around the new moon. And that can be many things, but it's definitely a place where we get to connect with one another. We get to listen to one another. We get to celebrate. We get to hold each other in compassion, and we get to move into the changes that we wish to be and see in this world through joy and sadness and happiness and curiosity. So if that sounds interesting to you, then please reach out. Otherwise, you can find the links below. And I'll see you next week. Bye.